How's it going, everybody? Admiral Addy here, back from vacation, pale as ever because I still don't go outside. And today I wanted to talk about something pretty exciting, crazy stuff we're going through these days. This bill, this omnibus, it is awesome. Clear supporter of it. But let's start this video out with a little hypothetical here. So let's say you're at the doctor's office. Actually, let's rewind it. Let's say you just get out of the shower. You're slicked back, naked as can be, body glistening in the sun because you're still soaked. And then your dog happens to zip right past you. What do you do here at this crossroad in your life? You do the obvious choice. You run behind it as fast as you can. And then, oh no, your Persian rug, probably costing $10,000. You trip on it and break your leg. Next thing you know, you're in the hospital, but the doctor says, in order for me to fix your legs, you're going to have to also pay for the boob job of the girl next door. That is essentially, in essence, what this omnibus deal is. It is a disgrace to the American people. I don't understand how this COVID relief package gets thrown in here with the mix of this omnibus. This 5,500-page atrocity. Yes, it is 5,500 pages. Can you believe that? I did the math here. That's about 1.6 Harry Potter series. The entire series in book form. It comes out to 1.6 of that. So it would clearly take someone about 15 years to actually read through the whole thing, which I assume is why people just passed it. They're like, well, I'm not wasting my time reading this. So, yep, looks good. Everything's good on my end, as they always do. No one ever wants to be held accountable. I also did the math, and at reading at a page of an average of 2 minutes per page, as the average person does, it would take you 183 hours to actually read through the entire thing. So if you got a nice whole week to dedicate to actually reading this thing, go right for it. It's really fun to do. I'm sure all of them actually read the entire thing that they signed off on. Real quick, before we get into the facts of this omnibus bill, the greatest bill ever passed, don't forget to maybe Mitch McConnell, the subscribe button, I guess. Share this with some friends. It's a great way to get the Admiral's word out. The Admiral Army has to grow. We're trying our best out here. And maybe even donate to my Venmo at Carson-Eastman-2. Support the cause. Support the Admiral. But that brings us to Trump actually signing the coronavirus relief. And as CNN states here, Trump signs coronavirus relief and government funding bill into law after lengthy delay. What is wrong with this orange man that is bad? How could he take so long to sign this bill? This bill is prosperous. It would allow our country to do great. Throwing in $10 million for gender studies in Pakistan, that's what we needed for COVID relief right there. The Pakistani people, if you didn't know this, they're very intertwined in the gender studies. Gender reveal parties are actually sacrilege over there, because they believe that gender studies are important. So let's just flush $10 million down the drain for that one. And don't worry, there are many other things just like that I will show you guys here in a second that are just the most abominable thing possible. If you would have asked me the worst way to spend money, I would not in a million years imagine some of these things that are thrown into this. Yet it's all under the facade of the COVID relief bill. This omnibus, this 5,500-page book, it's all for COVID relief. The people need this. But in the end, we'll just give them $600 because after 9 months of unemployment, $600, that'll do you justice. They can devise that up. What is that, less than $100 a month? That's good enough for the average person. They can probably survive off water bottles if they just go and mass stock up water for the entire year. That would have got them right through it. Your small business that was destroyed, what are you, an idiot? Opening a business around here? You know this isn't the place for businesses. I should spit on you just for saying that. Here's $600. Here you go. And you better be grateful. These people are just ludicrous. They are the biggest idiots of all actuality. Like, seeing people like Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, anyone like that in power sort of empowers me in a way, because I realize, wow, to do good in life, you actually don't have to be smart. You can be just an unstandable, ingrate, dumbass, and you'll still do just fine. People will listen to you all the same, as long as you say exactly what they want to hear and then do nothing at all. Crazy how society works. So here we have CNN, as we saw, declaring that It was such a lengthy delay. How could Trump do this to us? Yet now, for the first time ever, I agree with AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. For the first time ever, finally, I agree with her. As she tweets here, Congress is expected to vote on the second largest bill in U.S. history today, $2.5 trillion, and as of about 1 p.m., members don't even have the legislative text of it yet. So let's do the math here. So at 1 p.m., it needs to be voted on by 12 a.m., midnight. So we have 11 hours to read 5,500 pages. Good thing I have my handy calculator here. So we have 5,500 pages divided by the 11 hours that they have to read it. Well, that's just 500 pages an hour. People do that all the time, really. If you read maybe the first word on each page and just flip through the rest, skip it, you might get a good summary of what's in there. Just the dumbest thing ever. How do you even type something up 5,500 pages long? How is it? That shouldn't even be a thing within the government to throw in this huge omnibus, this absolutely biblical style just package of different things that no one needs. I got other things that I'm about to show you that are just laughable, honestly. I kind of thought I was on a prank website when I read some of the things included in this. I was like, who's pulling my leg here? There's no way that this is something actually needed in society, but that's for COVID relief right there. Pakistani gender studies, that's a good thing. They clearly should be two separate bills. One should be the COVID relief stimulus bill, and the other one should be your big omnibus book that no one's going to read. Throw it in the trash. Probably makes your printer fry up. The printer would catch on fire if you tried to print off 5,500 pages of a document. I even have it pulled up right now. This thing is just enormous. No one read this. I guarantee it. No one read this. I fell asleep reading just the title of it. And yet you're trying to make me believe that these people who are supposed to represent our democracy, our constitutional republic, took the time to read that out? There's not a chance. From the intelligence that is presented by most of our senators and House members, I don't even think that they've ever read a book in their life. Maybe Bearstein Bears. Maybe they could finish one of those. And yet 5,500 pages, they read that whole thing, you best bet. So obviously Trump gave them the old razzmatazz, wasn't going to sign it. He said, raise that number to 2,000 for the American people. Still tough to make by with that, but I mean, come on. You get hit with $2,000, you can't complain. You get hit with $600, your sack deflates. You feel less masculine or feminine, of course. Kind of being treated as a worker ant. And the queen just took a big dump, and you got to be the one to carry it out of the castle. So we have here Trump's statement on signing the COVID-19 relief bill. This is the reasons why he had actually finally signed it. And I mean, they're all right reasons. He redlined some stuff, stated, look, you got to get rid of this dumb stuff in order for me to pass this. I'm not sure what actually comes of that, whether they have to make the rescissions, as they're called, in order for this to go through, but I certainly hope so. Because the Pakistanis, the gender studies, they don't even know what those two words mean. So his statement is, as president, this might be the worst impression you ever hear, but come on, cut me some slack. I am demanding many rescissions under the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, the act that provides that whenever the president determines that all or part of any budget authority will not be required to carry out the full objectives or scope of programs for which it is provided, or that such budget authority should be rescinded or for fiscal policy or other reasons, the president shall transmit to both houses of Congress a special message describing the amount to be reserved, the relevant accounts, the reasons for the rescission, and the economic effects of the rescission. All right, that's enough of that. Maybe add me on Cameo, I guess. I'll do some Trump impressions for you on Cameo. But it also states, I will sign the omnibus and COVID package with a strong message that makes clear to Congress that wasteful items need to be removed. I will send back to Congress a redlined version, item by item, accompanied by the formal rescission request to Congress insisting that those funds be removed from the bill. Please, get rid of these dumb funds. So out of the entire $2.4 trillion, $900 billion is spent on the American people in one of the most devastating economic times of the last century. And yet, this is supposed to help us. Here's a $600. Here you go. You could pretty much win that at Dave & Buster's if you wanted to. It says, I am signing this bill to restore unemployment benefits, stop evictions, provide rental assistance, add money for PPP, return our airline workers back to work, add substantially more money for vaccine distribution, and much more. On Monday, the House will vote to increase payments to individuals from $600 to $2,000. Therefore, a family of 4 will receive $5,200. Additionally, Congress has promised that Section 230, and this is the kind of funny part because Congress has promised this. I'm sure Congress, they do a good job of keeping their word. They don't at all just tell you exactly what that you want to hear to your face and then stab you in the back. Mitch McConnell, a prime example. A dignified man, not some slug person who slugs around, no spine to be found. He's a good, solid man. He's essentially like this blob that if you come within his vicinity, he just oozes over you and you're stuck within it. It's like, what is this? Let me out. And then he just stabs you in the back anyways. Metaphorically, of course, he would never do that. So it says, additionally, Congress has promised that Section 230, which so unfairly benefits big tech at the expense of the American people, will be reviewed and either be terminated or substantially reformed, which it needs. Reformed, not terminated, because if they terminate that, the Admiral's gone. The Admiral's on a big vacation, never to be seen again. So reformed. It says, likewise, the House and Senate have agreed to focus strongly on the very substantial voter fraud which took place in the November 3rd presidential election. And it's like, come on, man. You know they're not going to do anything. They just like to sit back, sip their mimosas, and do absolutely nothing. Chase their dog out of the shower, slip on a Persian rug that they just spent $10,000 on, break their ankle, and do nothing to help the people of America. Speaking of doing absolutely nothing for the American people, we have some other key facets of the Omnibus bill, everyone's favorite. This part kind of cracked me up. This is where I wasn't sure, like, is this a real article? Am I actually seeing this? It says, but technically this provision... So this part talks about the Pakistan. $15 million will be put towards democracy programs. Very specific. And $10 million to gender programs. Very needed. But it says, but technically this provision and other defense measures, such as $73 million in spending for Israel's Iron Dome 9 defense system. Iron Dome 9. I literally thought I was reading something straight from the Karma Sutra there. That's the name of their defense system, the Iron Dome 9. And we're spending $73 million to that. And that's of the $500 million actually allocated to Israel. $500 million there for them. That's substantial. There you go. And $73 million of it was required to be spent on the Iron Dome 9 system. This is why you should probably separate the COVID relief bill and the actual omnibus bill so that you don't end up paying, instead of for the American people, you're paying for the Iron Dome 9. Don't get me wrong, cool name, kind of funny, but I don't think we want to spend $73 million on an Iron Dome 9 unless it's in America. That's also, funnily enough, could you imagine that is sort of the talking point of how you'll read fact checks saying, no, the COVID relief bill didn't contain this $15 million for Pakistan gender studies. What are you, crazy? Those were entirely separate things, except they were included in the same document, so it sort of forced everyone's hand. No one has a choice in what they are voting for. They're either voting for the Iron Dome 9 and COVID relief, or nothing at all. Two things that don't even correlate. That's how you end up with a 5,500-page omnibus. You have things that you're voting on that shouldn't correlate. I couldn't imagine the amount in 11 hours of pages that you would actually be able to skim through and make a decision on what you voted for. And I bet the Iron Dome 9 would be found at the bottom of the list, snuck in there. Actually, who wrote that? Who put that in there? I want their name. I want to see who snuck in the Iron Dome 9, because, I mean, come on, kind of funny, but come on. I also read that, oddly enough, at least as far as I know, the people who are paid the $600, it's only if you were under $75,000 revenue for 2019. Yes, the year before the pandemic. So if you were doing well and prospering in 2019, guess what? Hit the bricks, son. You're getting kicked to the curb. You get nothing. And that's just based on, like, that doesn't even make sense. So if you were doing good before the pandemic, hey, right on, man. You get crushed. Gavin Newsom destroys your business, spits in your face, opens up a Hollywood, lets the Hollywood people do whatever they want, open up a little venue right next to your just destroyed business, laughing at you the whole time, probably recording you on their phone. Look at this peasant. Can you believe that this rabble can even be within my vicinity? And yet, all is well over here. Some of just the worst people of all time. I'm glad that I am back in business because the Admiral has a lot of work to do, and so does the Admiral Army. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, maybe share it with some friends. Check out my Venmo at Carson-Eastman-2, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.